Nah, even if it was, I don't even speak on, what other people got going on, I would love to fight. I've been saying that I thought Bud Crawford could beat Canelo, but truthfully, I just feel like that's his business.
I think Bud definitely by decision or shit.
Amid the shocking report regarding the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, Shakur Stevenson has issued brutal warnings targeted at the Mexican fighter, telling him not to undermine Bud. Meanwhile, many other members of the fraternity have also made their sentiments clear regarding this fight. It seems the entire community has been segregated by this opinion, by a majority thinking that this fight will be nothing but a sham orchestrated slowly for money. In contrast, others think that this fight will be tremendous in terms of its impact on the sport. Sharing this same sentiment, famed Mexican monster David Benavidez thinks that this fight will be very exhilarating for the fans as well as the other fighters.
It's a good fight, bro. I don't have nothing against any of them. Crawford is a great fighter, so if that's a fight that's going to be made happen, then let's go fight.
Sharing his prediction for the fight and who will be the potential winner of this battle, David refrained from giving any definitive names, but still indirectly pointed to Terence as his favorite, explaining that even though Terence will be making a huge weight jump from 154 pounds to 168 pounds, which many people might think to be a bit too staggering for anyone, no matter how accomplished you might be, if there is anyone in the sport who can make this happen, then he is Bud Crawford, based on the fighter's sheer resilience and spirit, which has always allowed him to achieve such unsurmountable tasks before. However, along with this, Benavidez dismissed any claims about fighting Crawford next, stating that regardless of his beliefs, 175 will be a little too much for Bud and that he will most probably never cross 168.
Little Charlo.
Crawford is coming up from 154, 168 is 2 weight classes above, but Crawford is Crawford, and he's a good fighter. If anybody could beat Canelo's Crawford. I don't think he'll come up to 175. I think 168 is probably the most he'll come up to.
Now, although David expressed rather optimistic views regarding this upcoming fight, he did not shy away from taking digs at his fellow Mexican fighter by commenting that even though many people consider Canelo as this supreme fighter who is adept and righteous, his main motivation seems to be making money rather than creating a legacy for himself, which is a point that can be easily proven by looking at his recent record, where instead of fighting the top names in the division, he has been going after less prominent or compatible fighters to not only make sure that he wins the fight without any hassle, but also to ensure that he gets good money from the deal as well without any potential threat to his legacy.
Whoever that may be, if it's 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the mission is going to be the same. The mission is going to be the best and win the world titles. And maybe a fight with Canelo, it's a really attractive fight, but like I said, he's over there, he's doing things that he wants to do. He's, like I said, now he's after the money, he's only focused on the money, so he's getting the easier fights. Me, like I said, to make my path in my career, I have to go this lane and do exactly what I'm saying, going out there and being the best. I want to be a legend. Canelo, in his head, he's already saying that he's a legend, that he doesn't have to do nothing else. So he's not after legendary status anymore. He's after picking up the money. So it's not nothing bad either, but like I'm saying, we're on 2 different paths. Canelo's collecting his checks, and I'm trying to collect greatness.
With this supposed difference in mentality between him and his longtime nemesis, Benavidez vehemently claimed that after all that he has suffered since last year, he will not be waiting around for a contender like Canelo, who has no proper disregard for his fellow fighter and is solely concerned about his own selfish lucrative gains. Dismissing any possibilities about a future bout between them at 168, David stated that he is now focused in the 170 weight class as he gears up to take on Morrell on February 1st, and that he has no plans about returning to 168 to fight Canelo, who is slumming around like a coward with all easy challenges. Making his views clear regarding this ongoing feud, David established the fact that his main priority is to cement his name in the industry as a respectable fighter rather than being remembered as someone who only fought for money.
Are you completely done with 68, or would you only go back for Canelo?
I'm done with 168.
Would you go back for Canelo 68?
No, I'm done. This fight's not gonna happen on 168. You see, he's fighting Crawford, he's fighting all these people. I'm worried about 170. You're always trying to earn that respect. If people saying it's not, then that's a lie. Everybody wants to, because at the end of the day, everybody always thinks, everybody has opinion and no, he's not this, he's not that. So that's what we're fighting for at the end of the day. So it's not even about the belts, the money. It's about winning the respect from the whole world.
Not being so polite with his words, David Benavidez' father, Jose Benavidez, stated that this fight is nothing but a joke, a cheap stunt that is being organized by the stakeholders only to make money, because no matter how good both these fighters might be their own regards, to have them fight one another knowing well enough about the potential disparities between them is ludicrous, and goes on to show how biased the sport has become. Further adding in his argument, Jose stated that instead of giving his son the opportunity to fight Canelo, that is something which would not only have been more suitable, but would also have been something that the fans have been yearning to see for quite some time.
Canelo fighting
it would be embarrassing for me to even ask for a fight with Terence Crawford, with David Benavidez. Come on, it's embarrassing, It's like me trying to go to fight Usyk. To be honest, I don't really care about that fight. It's a fight that it's a circus. It's a circus, we know who's gonna win.
Being on this particular subject, Jose dissuaded any claims that the fans might be making in support of Terence in this fight about how his smaller size is not the deciding factor in this fight, based on how he is a very skilled fighter who has immense experience as well as a lot of unprecedented skill. According to the coach and trainer, even though Terence is a tremendous fighter who has gained prominence in the last couple of years based on his sheer attributes, this time around he is no match to Canelo, who is not only much bigger than him, but also seems to have more power than him as well, which in the end nullifies everything that Bud might be planning to use to his advantage and only plays into Canelo's hands, who is looking to make easy cash from this fight.
No, I don't think that Crawford could beat Canelo. Crawford's a little guy. He's at 154, 147, 154.
Last fight,
Canelo's
154.
at 168, man. Come on, bro. My respects to Crawford. Hell of a fighter at his weight. It's like me trying to go to heavyweight, trying to fight Usyk right now. Come on, bro. Brother, really? Really? To me, that's a joke. Canelo's a great fighter. He's proven himself a lot. He don't need this belt to keep fighting whoever he wants. But when you have those belts, you're going to have hungry fighters trying to fight for those belts. But he's either going to choose the young fighters that don't have experience or the old fighters. We know that.
Jose also highlighted the fact that regardless of all these absurdities that have been raised in the last couple of months after the rumors surrounding this fight started to surface, no official action has been taken by the sanctioning bodies, and even after the supposed final announcement, no proper initiative or step has been taken by any authorities who otherwise should have not only stepped forward to stop this debacle, but they should have also restricted Canelo by obliging him to fight his mandatories rather than acting on his own selfish whims, which is something that is causing the belts to be held hostage by him for long periods of time, which is ultimately taking away opportunities from many deserving fighters like his son David Benavidez, as well as the new promising fighter on the block, Diego Pacheco.
I just believe that he has belts hostage, He's not giving people opportunities, and I don't know why the organizations are allowing that, why not make it mandatory. We waited for 4 years, man. Mandatory, So at the end of the day, man.
What about that 200?
Talk about Canelo.
What about that 200 million?
Now we have Diego Pacheco at 168. Now it's like Canelo. But I would even think that he would never face Diego Pacheco at this point. So, but I think Canelo can fight exhibition fights and make even more money. He doesn't need the belts. He already has the name. He's already there. He's made his fights, his history, and he doesn't need the belts. He's just holding those belts hostage for other people to get an opportunity to do that.
Agreeing with Jose that this fight is nothing but a gimmick orchestrated for the simple reason of making money, former professional fighter Mikey Garcia thinks that there is no substantial value behind this fight for either fighter, especially for Canelo, who will be going to fight a much smaller guy, advising the Mexican fighter to take on more compatible adversaries like in the 175 weight class. Mickey stated that if Canelo really wanted to prove to the world that he was one of the best fighters of this generation, then he should take on more challenging opponents like Beterbiev, Bivol, or even his longtime nemesis Benavidez, as this will really show the world how great he is rather than fighting all these smaller guys like Crawford, which ultimately will have dire consequences for his legacy.
But there's no money in that compared to a Canelo fight, and Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight, for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Benavidez or Revolt again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again, and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
Mickey then went on to emphasize the significance of weight classes in the sport of boxing, stating that even though many people have this delusional belief that skills are the focal point in a fight and that they have the potential to change the tide of a match, in the end the deciding factor is always the size and the weight differences between the fighters, which in this case seems to be heavily in favor of Canelo. That is going to be a huge issue for Terence going into this fight, no matter how many he tries to convince his fans otherwise. Looking at the statistics of this potential fight, the professional fighter explained how even though Terence is a phenomenal fighter who has tremendous skills and attributes that are out of this world, he is still going to be seriously overshadowed by Canelo based on his mediocre last performance at 154, along with the fact that there is no way that Canelo will ever step down in weight to fight him, which means that he has to put a lot of effort into reaching 168 if he really wants to fight with Canelo.
I'm not even a fan of that fight. They're too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160. Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight.
On the other hand, although most of the general perception in the community seems to be against this fight, with very thinking that Bud will triumph in this case, his friend and longtime ally Shakur Stevenson has stepped in the game, emphasizing that this is not the first time that Bid has been underestimated in his career, and that he knows how to jump back and prove his critics wrong. Adding on, the young fighter stated that if this fight materialized as it is being said, according to the countless reports circulating online on social media, then there is a very clear chance that Bud might win based on his superior skills and fighting stance.
Nah, even if it was, I don't even speak on, what other people got going on, I would love to fight. I've been saying that I thought Bud Crawford could beat Canelo, but truthfully, I just feel like that's his business.
While maintaining a fair distance from involving himself in all the drama surrounding this fight, Shakur talked about the aspects that, according to him, will result in Bud's victory, with the top one being his ability to outbox his opponents, no matter how skilled or proficient they might be, which, along with his remarkable ability to change stances, makes him a formidable opponent who is not only very intimidating inside the ring, but he is also someone who is very hard to beat given his undefeated record and world's top pound-for-pound status.
They do fight Cole. How do you see it going?
If they do fight, I told you I think that Bud outboxes him. I think he's going to use his leg, keep Canelo on the outside and make it an easy night. Yes, honestly, if anybody could jump up in weight classes and do it, it's Terence Crawford. I don't know nobody who is mentally as strong as Terence Crawford, so I can't wait to watch it.
Along with this analysis surrounding this fight, Shakur also revealed how in the last couple of days, both he and Terence Crawford have been participating in countless sparring and training sessions in the gym, along with other eminent fighters who have helped them not only improving their already spectacular skills, but it has also helped them to become much better fighters as they have been learning from their past mistakes. Mentioning Keyshawn Davis and Floyd Mayweather's names during this revelation, Shakur stated that throughout this training and sparring session, he has observed countless enhancements in Bud's overall fighting style, especially at this new weight, which in hindsight will aid him during his fight with Canelo at 168.
I put a nice little play together, had everybody pull up to the gym, and I appreciate them guys for showing up for me and supporting me, and I just try to take the knowledge and the stuff that they present to me.
Moving on after getting mentioned by Shakur, as well as being present at this elaborate training session that went on between these big names, Keyshawn Davis shared his thoughts on this fight, emphasizing that regardless of all the differences between the fighters at the end of the day, Terence is a much better fighter as compared to Canelo, and eventually he will be declared as the winner. Further divulging his reasoning, although Keyshawn refrained from making any comments himself due to his relation with Bud, he did agree to all the points that were raised by his close ally regarding how even though Canelo is the bigger fighter and seems to have the apparent edge over Terence, he is still not as efficient of a fighter as Terence, and that when it comes to boxing, there is almost no one in the sport who can outshine Bud.
I got Canelo. I got
No, he didn't say that.
Bud. Facts. I got Bud by decision for sure. I got Bud boxing him. I feel like Canelo too slow. I feel like Canelo gonna rely on his power, and Bud's gonna be too fast, and he got way better footwork than Canelo. And Bud got great IQ, and he left-handed. You know, Canelo got problems. He'd be having problems with a lot of left-handers too. So.
Recalling the last bout that Terence participated in, which was the fight with Israel Madrimov, and was also the debut of Bud at 154, Keyshawn stated that one aspect that has always been unique about Terence is his fighting style, and how regardless of the situation, he never comes out to be aggressive, and that he always seems to have a clear head, which then allows him to outmaneuver his opponents very easily, especially if you consider that he is a pretty swift fighter, even compared to Canelo, whose only main attribute is his power and pouches.
Get him running into something. Of course I got Bud, man. Not because I'm on the team with him, but I always go with the more pure boxer. Like Canelo, he's more of like a he's more of a fighter. Bud is a fighter too, but Bud can box the shit out you too. You know what I'm saying? Like Bud last fight showed that he ain't going there trying to be reckless and try to actually fight that guy. He was being smart the entire time in boxing. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like Bud got more. I feel like he got more attributes. He faster than Canelo. You know what I'm saying? He got better footwork. And I feel like he's just gonna show when they fight.
Predicting Terence to win this fight, most probably by a decision victory or even by a knockout if the occasion allows it. Keyshawn thinks that after everything that they have observed so far from the fighters, by focusing on their last couple of performances, along with all the reigning that they have been undergoing in the last couple of months, it is clear that Bud will have a clear chance at victory over the Mexican King, which will not only earn him a lot of money, but it will also give him the prominence that he has been looking for since the beginning of his career.
I think Bud definitely by decision or shit. He fuck around, knock him out.
You get him running into something.
Amid all these talks surrounding how the fight will most probably turn out, well-known reporter and boxing analyst Dan Raphael recently gave an interview where he revealed that even though fights like they have little to no impact on the sport in general based on their rather unique nature, they have the capability of garnering a huge attendance, which is a fact that caused many stakeholders to propagate the idea of the fight, and it was something that was further propelled by His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. Adding on to the Saudi government's involvement in this whole scenario, Dan highlighted that it is no surprise that the main driving force behind this fight has been His Excellency, based on how he seems to have very close ties with Terence Crawford and wants to give him a good fight, especially if it also aligns with his own business plans as well, that involve organizing the fights that the fans want and are willing to pay a huge sum to watch.
Listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in the sport for quite a while. Certainly, it's a fight that Turki Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting.
Shifting his focus on the Mexican fighter, Dan stated that even though Canelo has maintained this front, that he is not interested in fights like these, and that there is very little chance that he will ever accept such a possibility. He is a very smart and opportunistic fighter who knows how to go along with the tide and to get benefits from it. According to Dan, although Canelo might be labeled as a sellout fighter by many people in the industry because he chose to accept this fight after months of alleged hostility that he directed at Turki and his way of dealing, no one can really target or critique the fighter because he has not done anything wrong and has only utilized the offer that was incessantly presented to him for the last couple of months.
Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it, and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it. It was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like, he wasn't just saying forget it in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees, who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, you know, in a big time fight.
Sharing a rather distinct take, Dan supported the idea of fights, stating that regardless of the fact that people want Canelo to fight other notable contenders in his own weight class or the one above him, this fight with Crawford is not as bad as many people might paint it to be, because at the end of the day, boxing is like any other business, and you are going to be attracted to the deal that you know will help you make the most money. So for Canelo to take this fight, knowing in his heart that it will be an easy challenge, there is nothing particularly wrong or abhorrent about.
Canelo may have watched the performance against Madrimov and saw that Crawford, while he did win the fight, you know, it's not like, you know, he looked awesome. I think even Crawford would be the first to admit that he didn't look spectacular on that given night. We'll see what happens. I mean, I guess I'd be down for it. I mean, there's, like I said, there's not another mega fight that I can think of for Canelo.
So in the end, what do you guys think about this potential fight? Do you think that Canelo will win this fight as many think, or do you think that Shakur might be right in his assessment and that it will be Terence who will triumph based on his extraordinary skills? Make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel.